We're going tonight to talk about two different categories of people that we see all throughout the Tanakh, or the prophets, the writings, and the Torah, commonly called today the Old Testament, but we know there's nothing old about it. So the first question I want to ask, were there prophetess in the Tanakh? It was? Okay. Okay. So there were prophetess, and we're going to start with prophetess because there are not as many scriptures. Okay, but first we're going to go over the Hebrew for it. Okay. The Hebrew for a prophetess is Hebrew 50:31. And by the way, I already sent all of you the PDF version of this so that you can have it. I haven't forgot the other stuff that I'm supposed to. Yeah, I already sent it to you. The Hebrew number 50:31 is the word for prophetess. It's Nabiya, okay, and it means prophetess or inspired woman, by implication, a poetess, by association, a prophet's wife, prophetess. Okay, so it comes from the word nabah, which is Hebrew 50:12, which means to prophesy, to speak, or sing by inspiration, in prediction or simple discourse. So it could be predicting something, it could be foretelling or forthtelling. I could tell you something about yourself, or I could tell you something that's going to happen in the future. Kind of give you a better perspective on what it is. Okay, that's the root word, yes.
So, okay. You said something about that associated with the prophet. So does it mean if a prophet is married, his wife would be a prophetess, or what? I'm trying to understand.
Well, in some instances you might see that, but it's not the norm per se. Okay. But by association, she could be a prophetess. Okay. If you're in that house and you're obedient in that house, then the giftings of that house can rest on everyone in that house. Okay? So let's look at some places. Let's go to, we're going to go over a few scriptures. This is for the prophetess. Okay, and like I said, I chose this one because it's the shortest. Now, when we get to prophet, oh, man, you're talking about 26 pages worth of stuff. So, D, could you turn that heat down? It's starting to kick in. Yeah, actually still wrapped up. That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, let's move it. Exodus 15:20. Chapter 15, verse 20. Chapter 15, verse 20. Okay, and it says, Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. So we can dance. So, but you see, this instance, I want you to notice, her as a prophetess led the women. Okay? In music, remember it talked about singing, the root word the root word to speak or sing, We're seeing is in parentheses by inspiration.
And the inspiration comes from Elohim.
Yep, it's the Ruach. Okay. Okay, let's go to Judges, 4th chapter, 4th verse. Okay, everybody there? And it says, and Deborah, or Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Nepidoth, she judged Israel at that time. Now, it says she judged. You could say that. But I want to look at something specific here. Bless you. Okay, so now we know when she when did she go into any battles per se? Anybody remember? Okay, but she didn't engage in battle herself. Okay, so basically this word to judge, which is shafat, means to pronounce a sentence. Like in regular court, the jury makes the verdict, but the judge determines the sentence. Okay? Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 22, verse 14. Chapter 22, verse 14. Okay, it says, and so Hilkiah the priest and Ahikam and Arbor and Shaphan and Asahiah went unto Hudah the prophetess, the wife of Shulam, the son of Tobiah. So we see there, she's called. You don't see her husband being called a prophet, but you see her being called what? Prophetess. So it really, it doesn't give a whole bunch of information about her in that particular sentence. And then you'll see she was mentioned again over in 2 Chronicles 34 and 22. You don't have to go there. So let's go to Nehemiah. Nehemiah, the 6th chapter, 14th verse. Now, when we deal with Nehemiah, Ezra, they're coming out of the Babylonian captivity. So even after the Babylonian captivity, there's still reference to females being prophetess. Okay, everybody there? Nehemiah 6th chapter, 14th verse. It says, My Elohim, think thou upon Tobiah and Sanballat, according to these their works, and on the prophetess Noadiah and the rest of the prophets that would have put fear, put me in fear. Okay, so we just see. I'm just showing you there's a reference. Go to Isaiah, the 8th chapter and the 3rd verse. Okay, it says, "And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then Yahuwah said to me, Call his name Mohai Shal al-Hazbah." So there we have another reference to a prophetess. Now let's go to Luke, chapter 2, verse 36. "And there was one, Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age and had lived with her husband 7 years from her virginity." Now I want to do something. Let me 2 and 36. Yeah. But I want to read a little bit more of that around that verse. Okay, "And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served Elohim with fasting and prayer night and day. And she coming in that instant gave thanks likewise unto Yahuwah, and spake of him to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. And when they had performed all the things according to the law of Yahuwah, they returned into Galilee to their own city Nazareth." So this prophetess, you'll note one of her things, she was at the temple, and she was fasting, and she was doing the things she needed to do day and night for the Father. Okay, now here's a different twist. Go over to Revelations 2 and verse 20. Revelations 2, verse 20. "Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a" what? Prophetess, "to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols." So when they say that woman Jezebel died ages ago. So it's the spirit of Jezebel that carries on. And the spirit of Jezebel can still carry on today. And the spirit of Jezebel, notice what the spirit of Jezebel does. Calls herself a prophetess. And they teach and seduce the servants to commit fornication. Now, you remember we went over what fornication is according to Torah. Okay? In this particular instance, the fornication more than likely references idolatry. Okay? And to eat things, because notice it says, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. So, prophecy, prophetess, those are still in existence today. Okay, remember, Shaul even told us that about the 5 things that are in the assembly. Apostle, the prophet. And when it talks about prophet, remember when he said your sons and your daughters should prophesy. So when it talks about it in Hebrew, if it gives a male gender, it can speak of female and everybody. Okay? So apostle, prophet, teacher, what else? Evangelist and pastor. Those are what they term as the fivefold ministry. And they're there to bring everybody into the unity of the faith. It's not there to divide, because they're supposed to be speaking on behalf of the Father to bring people together, not divide people. Okay? So let's start. We're going to look now.
Isn't that a good way to just kind of tell if the person not a true prophet? If there's a lot of division going on? Because remember when Jessica called herself, she said Jessica called herself a prophet.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a criteria that we can kind of say that maybe question whether that?
Well, I guess you would have to look at the context of what's going on, because if you have people in sin and the prophet has been given a word to bring to them, there's already division there because of sin. Because sin is what separates, division and separation right on the same terms. So you got to look at the context of what's going on and what's being said. Is the prophet pulling them back towards the Father? Or remember, like he did in some of the prophets, he put a lying tongue in the prophet's mouth, and they were prophesying lies. So you really have to look at the overall picture. Okay, so we went over the next thing we're going to talk about is the prophet. Okay, this is the male counterpart, and it's Nabi. Okay, and it can be a prophet or generally inspired man, prophesy, that prophecy or prophet. Okay, and we talked about what the root word is, and the root word is nabah, which is to prophesy, to speak by, or to sing by inspiration, in prediction or simple discourse. Prophesying, make self a prophet. Make self a prophet. So, the first instance, this word for the man takes place, which is the Hebrew H5030, is in Genesis 20:7. Okay, now we're focusing in on the male as a prophet. Then we'll come back and look at, and we might not get to it tonight, but we'll look at the root word prophet, Nabi. Nabah. Did any of y'all see Avatar? Do you remember what they call some of the people in there? Huh? Nabi. Mhm. That whole movie was almost like a message, and folks don't even remember the tree of life. I'm just, trying to help you see. So, Genesis 20:7. You there? Y'all there? Now, therefore, restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that is thine. So who was the man they were talking about? Abraham. So he was first recorded that we see in Scripture that this word is used of. But you could, he's the father. And when I say the father, I'm talking about as far as, father of faith. So notice one of the functions that this particular prophet did. Somebody committed an offense. He was able to pray and restore that house. I'm just saying the word wasn't used of him.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, could have been. Okay.
Nabi was not used. Now does that mean he wasn't?
No, but okay, I can understand the word.
So I'm just using where people were at. This word prophet was actually used with the person. Okay. Let's go to Exodus 7:1. And keep in mind that one of the functions that he did was he restored someone through prayer. Exodus 7, verse 1. Okay? It says, and Yahuwah said unto Moshe, see, I have made thee a Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. So you can see here, the prophet speaks on the behalf of Elohim. And what the Father had told Moses or Moshe is that he had made him a mighty one to Pharaoh. And Aaron would be, because remember, one of his excuses was he didn't speak well. That was one. So the Father eliminated that excuse. Aaron's going to be the one to speak. So a prophet speaks. That's a part, to speak by inspiration. So whatever Moshe told Aaron, that's what he did. That's what he said. He didn't say nothing more. He didn't say nothing less. Okay, let's go to Numbers. And what I want you to do is kind of pull out some of the stuff that you see associated with prophet and prophetess. Numbers, chapter 11, verse 29. Okay, and Moshe said unto him, envious thou for my sake, would Elohim that all Yahuwah's people were prophets, and that Yahuwah would put his spirit upon them? So this was talking about the 70. That when he put the same spirit that was on Moses on them, they did what? They all prophesied. And Yahusha, or commonly called Joshua, came to Moshe talking about Medad and Eldad that was down in the camp prophesying. And Moses said he wished that all of Israel basically were prophets. Okay, look at Numbers 12, chapter 12, verse 6. Now, this one we really need to pay attention to. Okay? Because we can't remember, if you can't make yourself something that you're not. It's the Ruach that makes the decision and decides who's what for the purpose of the body. Okay? And he said, "Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahuwah, will make myself known unto him in what? A vision. I will speak unto him in a dream." So the Father will make himself known to that person in a vision or in a dream. Now, has anybody had that experience? I know I have, but I didn't understand it because it was back when I was, still a teenager. So it wasn't late till much later on in life that I started to comprehend what was going on. Let's see, does it see anything else here that might be of value to us? Okay, now keep in mind, just if you're a prophet or a prophetess, if you walk in error, you still would get punished. Because remember Miriam? Okay, the same speech that can be used for the Father, that same speech can also be used to tear down and to do other things. So in those instances, the Father will do what he sees necessary according to what's been done. So make sure that you stay in right standing and use your speech for the right purpose. Okay, now let's go to Deuteronomy 13, verse 1. Is everybody following along? Got quite a few verses, so I'm going to read. Basically, I'm going to read verse 1 through, it looks like 5 here. I want you to really listen to this. Okay, it says, "If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, Let us go after other mighty ones, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahuwah your Elohim proveth you, to know whether you love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. And ye shall walk after Yahuwah your Elohim, and fear him, and keep his commandments, obey his voice, and ye shall serve him, and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death. Because Yahuwah your Elohim have brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which Yahuwah your Elohim commandeth thee to walk in, so shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee." So, just because someone gives you something that's true, or they dream something and tell you a dream, and the dream comes to pass, if that person is leading you away from the Father's statutes, commandments, and precepts, you are not to follow. Okay, I want you to think about. Okay, let me give you an instance. Okay, I know keeping his commandments is right. I know that's what I'm supposed to do. Now, let's say I go to a church and they call me up and they give me something that's true about me and give me direction. But then they want me to come join them and do what they're doing. Now, they told me something true.
But you can receive the truth. But that doesn't mean you have to walk away from what you're supposed to do.
But I'm telling you how people entice you. That's how they get you to join. They lure you in. Because I remember when I was going to one particular church, they operate in these giftings. And it was very tempting to want to attach to them. But the Father said, no, stop going. Because it's more important for you to walk in my statutes and commandments and precepts than to be with someone that's always telling you something.
Yeah, because if that's the case, you're not going to listen to the Father. You're going to listen to what they're telling you instead of listening to the Father or listen out for what He's telling you.
Now, I want you to go back and look at the verses. Why did the Father say He would allow that to happen? He tells you right in the verses. Look in the third verse. Somebody read the third verse for me.
Do not listen to that prophet's word or to the dreamer. For Yahuwah your Elohim is testing you.
Who's he testing?
You.
He's not testing the prophet or the dreamer. He's testing you. And your love for him should be so great that it's more important for you to keep his statutes, commandments, precepts than to run after something that the prophet or the dreamer is telling you, even though it might be true. Especially if they're trying to tell you to serve another mighty one. And that we want to make sure that we cleave. Remember, Adam said he was going to cleave to his wife, but the Father said you're supposed to cleave to him. That's what the Father said. So that's what we got to do. Cleave to him. That's pretty plain and simple right there, isn't it? Pretty plain and simple. Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy 18th chapter. Now this right here is prophetic. This is prophecy in action in the scriptures.
18 what?
Let's see. We're looking at 18 verse 15. Well, we're going to read quite a few here in 18. Let's see. Let me pick it up here. Okay, and it says, Yahuwah thy Elohim will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him you shall hearken, according to all that thou desirest of Yahuwah thy Elohim in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Yahuwah my Elohim, neither let me see this great fire anymore, that I die not. And Yahuwah said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren like unto thee, and will put my word in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other mighty ones, even that prophet shall die. And if thou say in thy heart, how shall we know the word which Yahuwah the Elohim has not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of Yahuwah, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is a thing which Yahuwah has not spoken. But the prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Okay? So, the part that is talking about here, where it says he's going to raise up a prophet whom you'll follow, that's talking about the Messiah, or Mashiach in Hebrew. So we know that the Messiah was both king, prophet, and priest. Remember the woman in the well at the 4th chapter of Yohanan or John, St. John? She said that he told her basically everything about herself. He was a prophet. Okay? So we know that this was prophetic that Moses was speaking. But I want you to know that he said one thing, and this is crucial for people that don't believe in the Messiah, because it says that if when he speak these things and they don't listen, he's going to require it of those people. So think about all the people that say there ain't no Messiah. So now how do you know if a prophet is true or not? It tells you right here in this verse. If it doesn't, if he speaks it in the name of Yahuwah, that's the Father's name. Some people say Yahweh. Some people still using the Lord. But that's, as they grow, they'll find their way. But Yahuwah, if they speak in his name and it does not come to pass, guess what? They were just talking out the side of their neck, if you want to put it that way. So if I tell you something and I speak it in the name of the Father and it comes to pass, then you know that prophet rests on that person. Okay? Any questions on that right there? Well, don't you all speak at once? Okay, let's go to Judges, the 6th chapter. Judges, the 6th chapter, 8th verse. And it says that Yahuwah sent a prophet unto the children of Israel, which said unto them, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, I brought you up from Egypt and brought you forth out of the house of bondage. So just showing you in Judges that there were prophets. Okay, go to 1 Samuel, 3rd chapter, 20th verse. Okay, 1 Samuel, 3rd chapter, 20th verse. And all of Israel from Dan even unto Beersheba knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of Yahuwah. Okay, then we've been over a lot of some of the stuff in Samuel. We'll read a couple more. Let's go to chapter 9, verse 9. Is everybody there? Chapter 9, verse 9. Before a time in Israel, when a man went to inquire of Elohim, thus he spake, Come, let us go to the seer. For he that is now called a prophet was before time called a seer. So a good thing to do would be to go back when you get a chance, look up seer in Hebrew. You're probably going to find it has a root word too. Then you look up seer, all the places that seer shows up, and then look up all the places that the root word for seer shows up. Okay? And let me know what you come up with. Okay? We'll read just a couple more. We're about at the top of the hour. Let's see. Go to chapter 10, verse 5. 1 Samuel. We're still 1 Samuel. After that thou shalt come to the hill of Elohim, where is a garrison of Philistines. And it shall come to pass that when thou art come thither to the city, that thou shalt meet a company of prophets, coming down from the high place with psaltery and with tabret and with a pipe and a harp, and before them, and they shall prophesy. Okay, go to verse 10. And when they came thither to the hill, behold, a company of prophets met him, and the spirit of Elohim came upon him, and he prophesied among them. But was he a prophet? No, he wasn't a prophet. So there's an office of prophet or prophetess, but there's also a gifting that the Ruach can give you for when it needs to serve a purpose. This purpose that is served in this particular instance was a witness to Shaul or Saul, King Saul, to build his confidence, to let him know that he was basically following suit with what the Father wanted him to do. So all these things were witnesses for him. Okay, go to Samuel 19, verse 20. 1 Samuel 19, verse 20. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just finish up 1 Samuel. Then next week we'll pick up in 2 Samuel. And it says, and Shaul or Saul sent messengers to take David or Daud. And when they saw the company of prophets prophesying, Samuel standing as appointed over them, the spirit of Elohim was upon the messenger of Saul or Shaul, and they also prophesied. Interesting. But the Ruach can cause you to prophesy. Okay, look at chapter 19, verse 24. And he stripped off his clothes also and prophesied before Samuel in like manner, and laid down naked all the day and all the night. Wherefore they said, Is Saul also among the prophets. We got a naked prophet on the loose. Okay, we got about 3 more scriptures. 1 Samuel 22 and 5. And the prophet Gad said unto David, Abide not in the hole. Depart, get thee into the land of Yehudah or Judah. Then David departed and came into the forest of Harath. Okay, now go to 1 Samuel 28, verse 6. And when Saul or Shaul inquired of Yahuwah, Yahuwah answered him not, neither by dream, neither by Urim, neither by prophets. So you can't get in a state where the Father just won't answer you. And Saul, if you go back and read over his story, he didn't seek repentance. Not true repentance from the heart. Well, I thought somebody snored. You all right back there, brother? Okay. Let's go to 1 Samuel 28:15. This will be our last one. Then we'll see if there are any questions. Chapter 28, verse 15. And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am so sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me. And Elohim is departed from me, and answer me no more, neither by prophet nor by dream. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I should do. Samuel was dead. A witch. So Saul went, when he didn't hear from the Father, he went to a witch, psychic, soothsayer, whatever you want to call it. So let's not get in a place where we can't hear from the Father. So are there any questions? And now, the reason I'm going over this, because whether we're operating in the office or whether we're operating through the Ruach, I want to make sure that we all are operating correctly. Because this is one of our marks. When you look around, just about everybody dreams. Just everybody either acts in the office or acts by the Ruach. That's one of our marks as a assembly. And within the Hebrew circle, that's kind of unique because you don't see it that often. Most people just stick down to the basic stuff of what they have. So we want to make sure that we see in Scripture what the prophets and the prophetess were doing, how they acted, so that we can act accordingly. Did anyone have any questions or comments?
So you said prophecies can be, they can have dreams and visions as well. If the Ruach come on, and they can have dreams and visions, and sometimes it is expressed through song.
It can be expressed. That's what the definition says.
And it can also be expressed in like a judge to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Operating in that office. Consider that office.
Mm-hmm. Well, She was acting in a office. She was acting in the office of a prophet that basically gave judgment. Because remember, everybody at that particular time in Judges, every man was right in his own eyes, so everybody was doing their own thing. So we want to make sure that we're not doing our own thing, but that we're acting with purpose.
Being a prophet, as we talking about, the NACI, they could have officers, prophets. They also can be gifting.
By the Ruach.
Well, so you should be looking for the Ruach and what the Father is saying.
Right.
To make sure that you are strengthened.
Oh yeah, but never let your gifting come ahead of keeping the commandments and statutes. Okay. That's the most important, because he can use your own gifting to test you. And sometimes people think because they walk in certain offices or have the Ruach upon them, that they can do things that other people can't, or get away with things that other people can't. But we all are held accountable. And remember, that's why you develop the confidence in what you hear the Father saying as you go. When you start out, you might not be as confident. And I encourage you to let yourself develop where you are confident. Don't step out on the limb if you know the limb can't support your weight. In other words, we have to give an account for every idle word that we speak. So make sure, at first, if you're a little hesitant, nothing wrong with that. You'll develop confidence as you go. Yes?
Was he both prophet and priest? Can he be both?
He was at that time. Remember, he acted as prophet when they were coming out of Egypt. But once they got out of Egypt, he was in the office of a priest. So we don't really see any more mention of him. Right. Because all he was doing, remember the Father said that Moses would be Elohim, or the mighty one, to Pharaoh, and then Aaron would be his prophet. Mm-hmm. Moses, there you go. Yes.
Does anyone in the Bible tell you or teach you how to prioritize your time or something like that?
How to prioritize your time? Let me look. Let me look for that one, because because I think your question is it more scriptural based or more just lifetime management? Okay, could be. Well, the best time management that I can tell you of that's described is in Matthew 6:33, where it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." So the priority should be the kingdom. And then when you make the kingdom the priority, he adds all these other things to you. And if your ways are pleasing to the Father, this is in Psalms, if your ways are pleasing, he'll make your enemies your footstools. If your ways are pleasing, he'll give you the desires of your heart. So everything is based in putting him first. And when you put him first, everything else falls in line. But what happens, people put everything else first but the Father. And then they wonder why their life is in a shamble and why their life is all over the place. When he gets jealous when he's not first. So in everything, we should be taking time to pray, We should be taking time to study. We should be taking time to seek His face. But sometimes life gets us so scattered that we're doing everything but that, and then we're wondering why things don't come together. Well, sometimes it's just us.
Sometimes it's us prioritizing our life.
Go back and read the parable of the sower.
Oh, okay.
And it talks about one particular ground, because we're that ground. It fell on the cares of this world, choked life out of the seed that was trying to come up. Did that help some? Okay. Buy the video, sister. Buy the video. No.
Oh, how to practice. Okay.
Yeah, so
I'm not going to.
the Father's order of business for prioritizing your time is putting Him first. Then everything else comes.
Okay, because it's like I'm a senior, and it's, as you know, when you're in high school, I don't know about everybody else who's in high school, but you make sure last year you just like make the most of it, and like, just not have fun necessarily, but just have fun and, just be ready to become an adult or whatever. But it's like, for most kids, it's like, oh, they do certain stuff, and, they have their schoolwork, and of course, apply to college and stuff like that, and. But it's like for me, like even my teacher, which class I'm not doing good in right now, and that's also discouraging because I've never gotten a bad grade like that in my life. But she was just like, because I was drifting off to sleep in class, and she was like, you ahead of the game, and I was like, huh? She was like, I know you part, but you ahead of the game. She was like, most high school students don't not go to sleep. She was like, but that's what college students do. Don't go to sleep. That's what you're doing. You already preparing yourself. She said, you still need to do my work though. So I was like, I'm sorry. She was like, did you go to sleep last night? I said, yeah, but no. Like 3 hours, 2, 3 hours. She was just like, what are you doing up late? I was like, work and stuff like that. She said, what kind of work you got? I'm an adult. No, I be going to bed at 9 o'clock. And I was like, yeah, I don't go to bed at 9. I've never been to bed at 9 since I started 10 years. I've been going to bed at 12, 1, 2 in the morning, just doing work, and then I'm going off and like everything. And it's like, it's not fun. I'm not having fun at all. Like, I'm over it. And it's not like I don't, not proud, because like, I have a schedule, I have an organizer where it's not like I'm all over the place, but it's organized. Like, I know what I have to do. It's not like I forget what I have to do. It's like, it's so much. Like, I can count on one hand how many free days I have this month.
Okay, well, probably for the remainder of this year, you just going to have to work this one out. But this should be a lesson for when you get to college of, okay, do your research up front and plan your path, because with most college students running, they start switching majors, and now they got to jump through hoops to get these classes and all this.
I want, I originally wanted to be a lawyer, but I don't want to be that. So now it's like I have to. I mean, I know I'm still high school, but I have to start over. I already had what I want to do. I was like, okay, I'm going to school and do this. I'm going to do this program and blah. Now that I'm not doing law no more, it's like now I got to figure out. Okay, I want to major in English. I don't even know what career I want to do. I just know I want to major in English or I want to write and travel. So now it's like I'm all this different stuff, trying to test up different stuff to see what I want to do, and then because I don't do sports and certain stuff to accommodate